reasons we don't have any pictures of my geothermal system is because it's all underground. So, you can't see it. So my house is at 99 Winchester Street. We're a 5-unit condominium building, and it is all heated and cooled by a geothermal system. And the nice thing about a geothermal system is it really gets to the core of what is really everyone's main energy use, which is heating and cooling. 100% of all of us spend about 50% of what we spend money on energy, we use it to heat and cool our houses. So it's really a big, big chunk of our energy needs. And what geothermal is, it's all about heating and cooling your house. And the way you do it is you're simply pulling up the heat from the earth, generally the Earth's core or down about 1,000 feet or so. You're looking at the artesian wells, the artesian reservoir, where you're pulling up water, and that water is always about 57 degrees. So that's the perfect temperature during the summer to cool your house. And during the winter, through the magic of physics, you can actually pull out all the heat from the earth, essentially you send it through a heat pump, and then you can actually heat your house using it as well. And the thing that I think really attracted us to it when we decided to do it is a few things. The first was it is a system that can really work no matter what your heating and cooling load is. So, Jim was talking about they're using PV over at St. Paul's, but in actual fact, Trinity Church, which we all know Trinity Church, right now they're using a geothermal system to heat it as well. And the reason for that is because their heating load is just so tremendous. They just need so much heat to heat this old, drafty, cold church. Where are they able to get that heat as economically as possible? And it's right from the earth. The other thing that we needed was a silent system, because as you know in Brookline, when you build a building, you frequently have air conditioning. Air conditioning has condensers, usually on the roof, and condensers are loud. And it was likely we're going to need about probably 10 or 11 condensers to cool our building. And that's a lot, and that is very, very loud, and neighbors don't like that. And the thing that's beautiful about a geothermal system is, again, it's a silent system. You never hear it, you never see it. All you do is you really just adjust your thermostat and never pay a bill. But in order to really make it all make sense is we really insulated our building very, very well, and we made sure that our building was as efficient as possible. Because one of the issues is always, this was a commercial venture, one of the issues is always return on investment. So a geothermal system can be quite expensive. For the average house, we're looking at maybe about $50,000, and I'll talk about how you need not pay all of that, but that's very expensive. So what are the ways in order to reduce that cost? And one of the ways is making your house more energy efficient. And the way to do that is by insulating it. A reason to think about a geothermal system right now is because there's some great financial incentives. So as I said before, if your average system will cost $50,000, right now there's a tax credit worth about 35% of that amount. So, immediately you say to yourself, okay, that's a third off, and that's great. And then on top of that, though, and specifically for the state of Massachusetts, is there's something called a heat loan. And what a heat loan is, it is through the state, and it is an interest-free loan payback over 7 years. So, and that's up to $25,000. Now the question is, so, what's the benefit? What's the return on investment going to be for something like this? Without any of the credits, without any of the low-interest loans, you're looking at generally a payback time on a geothermal system like solar PV of around 5 to 7 years. And that's a great payback if you're just moving in. And of course, if you add in the tax credit and if you add in the heat loan, you're looking at a payback in anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So again, this is very, very attractive. Like I would say though, it's only very attractive as part of a much larger project. Meaning that if you have a home now that's has old windows, hasn't been insulated in years, is drafty, then a geothermal system is probably not for you. The places that I frequently recommend people to look at geothermals when they're converting from oil, because oil right now, it is not uncommon to see oil bills of $4,000 to $5,000 range. So that's really again, it's all dependent on your own house and what your own heating and cooling needs are. But the reality is that I would say $1,000 to $2,000 a year for maybe just the cooling piece of it.
And you have to have a separate system for, let's say you already have a heating system in your house.
Yeah.
You have to have a separate system to work the heat pump and to bring in the geothermal and to do the cooling?
It depends on what sort of system you have. Meaning that if you already have a forced air system, at that point then it is, once it gets out of the ground, then you can connect it right up to your forced air system. One of the issues that you have where you get more engaged with the town is the direction in which your wells are, so or the direction in which your geothermal system is. There's generally around here you're going to see vertical systems, meaning you're going straight down. You know, and in other places, you know, particularly out in even Western Mass, or certainly in the Midwest where land is much cheaper and where everyone is sitting on big lots, then you're using a horizontal system where you actually go down maybe as little as 36 inches, and then you basically are using just your backyard, essentially pulling the heat out of that. And this is what makes geothermal so nice is, again, you don't need a lot of space. So where you see a lot of geothermal systems happens to be in New York City. And the reason for that is because there is a law in the books that allows you to actually rent the sidewalk out in front of your house. So then you can, again, you are renting, you know, a piece of the sidewalk that's only this big. I mean, obviously it's a little bit bigger than that, and you can actually pull out all the heating and cooling that you need in order to heat your whole house. But the reality is that we placed ours. One is right in the front yard. That is probably only about a foot from our lot line, and then another one is a little bit farther down into the driveway.
Geothermal is a whole other topic. This is, I think, the first time it's probably even talked about in town. This is that there's probably enough demand and interest, and it's very technical, and there's lots more options even in solar. We could have another one just dedicated to geothermal. So
yeah, and
we're not going to answer. We're not going to be able to answer all of them today, and we don't have as many experts.
You can ask me as many questions as you'd like. The one thing I would say is, Clint's absolutely right. When you go to drill this and you're drilling down, you know, generally most people have to go down around 600 to 800 feet. I mean, you do come in with a drill rig. I mean, you literally come in with and these are the guys, you know, who generally, they're well drillers. So if you have a well at your house, they just go down a lot farther. And it's very exciting looking. You know, I take the kids by and show them what it was like. My neighbors thought I was drilling for oil. Obviously, that was not the case.
Too bad you didn't find any.
Yeah, too bad we didn't find it.